Okay. Hi, Thorsten. How are you?
Good, thanks. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Good. Thank you for coming on this show. I appreciate it. So you're in Alberta, Canada, yeah?
That is correct in Lethbridge, Alberta, in close to the border to Montana.
Oh, okay. How cold is it there?
Actually, we have a Chinook that's a warm wind, and right now I think it's plus 10, so it's pretty bright and sunny. It's a little windy. It comes in with a strong wind, so yeah, this week's gonna be nice.
Well, plus 10 is probably pretty good. I just interviewed somebody from Calgary maybe last week or something, and they said it was minus 25. So,
The change is pretty fast here. So Lethbridge, this city, and the city in North Montana are the cities worldwide with the highest temperature change in 24 hours in the world.
so you are a writer, an award-winning German young adult author.
That is correct, yeah.
What kind of awards have you won?
So my first novel was nominated as Best German Debut Young Adult Fiction. And that novel also then was nominated for a couple of awards and it won the Hans im Glück Award, which is that golden ball there.
Oh, yeah, okay. I see it. Oh, great. So, did you write in German and English or both?
I'm in the process of switching. I mean, obviously, every writer that listens to this, like, how can this, I can't write a novel in English from the point of view of a New York lawyer, right? So that's pretty obvious. I can't pull that off. So what I did is my first novel was My Totem Came Calling in English, and I wrote it together with a co-author from Zimbabwe with Blessing Muzariri, and it was published here in Canada at my Wensi house in Ontario. Currently, I'm working on another English novel, but there, my grammatically shortcomings are explained in the character, basically.
Can you just write the novel in German and have someone translate it? Does it translate correctly if you do that?
So there are numerous novels of mine are translated to English by native speakers, of course, because I can't do it. And as a matter of fact, right now, my oldest son, he's 19, he's translating to English. He was born in Canada. My wife is Canadian, and we raised him or them, our sons, bilingual. So he's actually now translating that novel. When it comes to me, for me, I don't write in German anymore because I was writing on a level I can't achieve anymore if I'm not submerged in the German language.
Because some languages don't translate very well, even if you get somebody to translate it. They sort of have to know. The reason I know this is because I used to teach in Thailand for 3 years. Now, I know Thai is a whole different ball game of a language, but even if you tried to translate things, they just didn't work to translate. Somebody actually had to know what you were trying to say and then basically rewrite it, not just translate it. German and English are much closer, I would think, so it would be probably less of a daunting task to to get it correct, yeah?
Yeah, no, as far as I know, that is definitely true. Like, it's definitely closer. The languages are closer. You still have those moments where it's like it's not translatable. And what ever I told my translators is like, go free on it. Just get the gist and go with a different, entirely different expression.
Exactly, because a completely different expression might be exactly what you're trying to convey.
Yeah, yeah.
Word for word, it won't make any sense necessarily. Yeah,
No, that'll give me a headache. Yeah.
yeah. So, how long have you been in Canada?
I came to Canada in 1998, and I stayed then for a year because I met my wife, and we stayed in Calgary. That's where she's from, and then we got briefly married in Germany, and then we moved to Victoria for 4 or 5 years on the West Coast, and then we moved for 10 years to Germany back. Um, and we are now here in Lethbridge since 2014, 2015.
Okay, what brought you to Canada initially?
Initially, I love to travel, It's a
So,
hard thing to do right now,
well,
right?
now, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I did what I could when it was possible, and didn't regret not having a car and spending my money on traveling. That's pretty much what I did, and uh, it started like I have like a, what is it, allergy in Germany, and then I got those shots, right? This,
Allergy
the
shots, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So, and I asked the doctor, what do I have to do to not get them anymore after like 10, 15 years? And he said, like, just don't be there here in Germany. And that's how that travel idea came more into play. So I had like, I always worked, and then I had like 10 weeks where I just traveled. And that year, Canada was my goal. And first I wanted to go to Seattle. And then a friend said, like, you know what, go to Vancouver. That's just over the border. And you can say you were into Canada, and the Canadian dollar is cheaper. So it's, that was initially the only reason I came to Canada. And Vancouver rocked totally. And then I was like, no, I go north instead of south.
You talked about allergies. What in Germany were you allergic to that they don't have in Canada?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's grasses, like but you must know, like, I'm from an area, it's pretty industrial. It's like a Cologne area, and the land makes a funnel. So all the air from the industrial belt kind of collects there, and I think they are a little bit more aggressive. So, and yeah, so I escaped, and that worked every time.
So just generally industrial pollution, or the
Uh,
grasses, or both, or
yeah, they explained that to me, that the pollen
the
from the
pollen?
grass are
Yeah.
then more aggressive.
Oh,
That's
I
how
see.
the doctors told me that. Yeah. So
Okay. But
so I
you don't
didn't.
have the allergies in Canada.
No, not no. It's if I sneeze once or twice, but that is not what I had in Germany. So
All right. Well,
yeah,
that's good. That's good for
yeah.
you. So let's talk a little bit about your writing, and I know you have a book to promote. And what made you start writing? What was the inspiration for that?
I started writing the day I went to school, and then you talk to your buddies and say like, "Hey, so what did you do yesterday?" And I was like, yeah, I played with Playmobil, and but it was an age when your friends then start looking strange to you that you're still playing with Playmobil. So that was kind of a hit in the stomach for me. So I went back home, and the moment I stopped playing out my fantasy, I was reading a lot back then already. It was in the same week I started writing. Yeah, and never stopped.
So how old were you when you stopped playing with Playmobil?
Yeah, I probably was a year older than anybody else, or half a year older. I loved my fantasy. Obviously, I love to live in my fantasy or with my fantasy. And uh, I would say, let's think, maybe 14, 13. Boys are usually a year behind the girls anyway. So 14, 13, somewhere there.
Is
Yeah.
Playmobil like Legos?
Playmobil are those, they're figurines like this size, and bigger Lego
Bigger? Okay.
figurines, and yeah, but Lego too. So I played with everything I could tell a story with.
So your book is called I Am You Am I,
Hmm.
and according to the caption on the top, it says it's like Freaky Friday on
Yeah.
steroids. Uh, Freaky Friday was a film that was years and years ago now, but was Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis, where they switched bodies, right?
That's what it is about. That's what it is about. And that wasn't my first book, but I got the idea for the body switch from another novel that I wrote, where to hide, the female lead character dresses as a guy. So, and that came with so many implications that at the end of that novel, I was thinking, what about the body switch comedy? And then alone is not a new idea, right? That's not why I sit down and write a novel. That was done before. And then I did some research. I watched movies, I read novels, and came to the conclusion that one thing wasn't done like to that extent as I wanted to, is what if one of the characters of the body switch doesn't want to switch back?
Well, I haven't seen. I'm trying to think. Maybe I'm just not remembering, but I've never seen one where it's a male-female switch. It's usually same sex.
Yeah.
Because I've
Yeah.
seen one with two males that have switched, two females, but never male-female.
Yeah, that was one thing too, but that was right away from the start. It would be male female. Then of course for me it's always like, is it a adult novel or is it a young adult fiction novel? What genre is it? Comedy was set that it would be funny. There was no doubt. And then I just found way more interest in if what that happens if that would be to 15-year-olds, right? And so I settled on Frank and Elizabeth.
Without giving away the whole story, I assume that both of them come from kind of opposite backgrounds or something as well.
Yeah, yeah. No, I set that up like, and funny because we touched already on the translation part, right? Not only is this novel, it takes place in Germany in the German version, but this version takes place in Vancouver. It was translated in Vancouver, and I even said like, you know what, let it play in Vancouver. So Frank and Elizabeth come from both from different backgrounds, and Frank is like, let's say, from a troubled area, like raised by his father alone, like a Tom Waits listener. You're like music, so I like music too. So what can be stranger as a biggest Tom Waits fan? And Frank is his hobby is boxing. You know, that is his passion. And Elizabeth is from a well-off neighborhood and loves horseback riding. And once they switch the bodies, of course, they lose their techniques.
Okay, do they fall in love at the end?
I hesitated with that one. I think the story was about something else, you know, and often it is in those Hollywood or Hollywood-esque novels and movies, that case. But I attached a deadline to their switch because Elizabeth will visit her father in Singapore, I think, in 5 days. So there was no way they could like fall in love. And it was more like, how do we get this done before I have to go?
I just happened to notice your ukulele back there. Do you play that?
I actually picked that up. It was like 2 years ago. There is a great, the South Country Fair is a very, very nice folk festival here in Alberta. And I ran into a ukulele workshop and I never had one in my hand. And I played and it just felt natural. And now last year I thought like, yeah, if not this year, when would I start? So I got one and I just published my first ukulele album. I'm not the best ukulele player, more like a storyteller, but I have fun doing it, yeah.
Oh, well, great. That sounds interesting. So you wrote songs on it and just recorded, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. I also picked up, if you're into music, like Ableton. That's a DAW, like a software to make music. So it's not just ukulele, it's also a little bit piano in there, and just no bass. I heard you're playing bass, so maybe next time I hit you up.
Where did you hear I was playing bass?
Douglas, I do listen to your shows then.
Oh,
You invite
okay.
me.
Well,
You know, how ignorant would that be if I would just come to your show and not knowing anything about you?
I'm not the most fabulous bass player. My primary instrument is piano, but
Okay, okay. I wish I would have learned all these things earlier, but
oh, well, that's all right. I appreciate you bringing that up because most people that come on the show have no idea that I'm a musician. So
I have a genuine interest. I did a lot of touring in Germany with my books because they are read at schools between Denmark and Italy. And I don't know, had probably around 1,500 readings. And whenever I go to a small town that I've never been to in the mountains in Switzerland, I make an effort. If I arrive, I grab the local newspaper and see what's happening. That's just, and sometimes it gives me ideas too, you know.
wow,
like,
that's great. It's always good to have a curious mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes it'll get you in trouble, but more times than not, you will be rewarded. Well, Thorsten, we do have to wrap this up. Unfortunately, we are out of time. Do you have a website that you want to give out where people can check out your books and your music even?
Yeah, it's all there. It's also the web novel that I'm currently writing and updating every week. It's my name. It's www.thorstennesch.com.
All right. Do you want to spell that out so we'll superimpose it right under you?
Yeah. So THORSTENNESCH.com.
Great. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for
Appreciate it.
coming on the show. This was nice meeting you. Nice talking to you. And best of
Super
luck.
nice talk to you.